Hi, Mr. Shyamalan. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm a huge fan.
Thank you.
You've been here in Brazil so many times. They
Yeah.
should give you a CPF. It's like a Brazilian
Uh,
ID.
I love it. I love it. I have some, close friends that are from Brazil too, so they were so excited when I was coming here.
What are your favorite things about Brazil?
I think the culture matches me in a way that I don't I keep forgetting until I come here. Like, oh, how can I describe it? I would say, the bad version of it is that it's very colorful and everyone is very buoyant and colorful, and you wear your joy outside, and you laugh, you enjoy, and there's affection, and that's how I am, as a person. And I think in America it's different. There's just a little bit, not quite who I am, but when I come here I'm like, oh my god, everyone's like me. This is so I feel very much at home.
And what a movie. It gave me nightmares. Josh and Salika nailed it.
Oh, thank you so much.
A lot of people think the movie, the trailer gave away the plot twist of the movie, which I thought was brilliant. Can you say to the people that there's a lot of surprise left?
Yeah, for me, one of the wonderful things when I was writing this was, oh wow, as I started to write it, I go, oh wow, the movie kind of unfolds to tell you what the real movie is, what you are actually watching. But the structure is really interesting because it's kind of backward structure, and so but you're with the main character as you're going backwards in the structure to find out what this story actually was. That was really fun for me, doing it backwards.
Os federais ficaram sabendo que ele vai estar aqui hoje. Montaram uma armadilha para ele. Esse show todo é armadilha.
And how did you came up with the idea for Trap?
It was a few steps. It was very unusual because it was with Salika that I did this idea, because we were talking about, hey, nobody's really done since Purple Rain a real audience movie where all the music was written for the movie and the characters actually listen to the music as characters in the story. Can we do that? Can we think of a thriller? So that's how it kind of started, was just kind of like a thesis. And then I was like, oh, maybe they go to a festival, or maybe they're in a place where a concert's going on. Then I was like, should we do it in a club? And then I was like, oh, that's too much like Purple Rain if we did it in a club. Well, why don't we do it in an arena? And I was like, this could be really cool. It's like an arena concert where everybody's there. Well, what could happen in an arena? It was literally like that, one step at a time. Oh, maybe there's a bad guy in there. And then like that kind of thing.
Eles estão de olho em todas as saídas, checando todo mundo que sai. Não tem como sair daqui.
Eu nunca senti isso antes. Eu me sinto fora de controle.
When I was watching the movie, I don't know why, I felt it takes, it is in the same universe than Glass, Split, and Unbreakable. I don't know why. Is it that possible? Do you think we can see that universe expanding? I would love to see Josh Hartnett in it.
That's so funny you said. I think when I was a kid and I was writing all these different characters, if I'd been smarter, I would have said, 30 years later, you're gonna want to connect all of this in some kind of universe. If I'd been smarter about it, when I was starting, I was like, I didn't think anybody would let me direct a second movie or a third movie. Like each movie, I'm like, well, they're never gonna let me direct again. So I wasn't thinking about connecting it. But most of my ideas, I actually realize, are kind of origin stories of characters that I have in my head, and they could have all kind of been living in the same universe, I remember even with like Glass, when I was making Glass, I was like, oh, can we reference the grandparents from The Visit? That was like, oh, they're in a mental institution, and these kind of things pop in my head, but because it's not how I designed it, I never let myself do that. So it's a little bit like, and now I wish I had done it that way, all these characters, but they live in their own worlds.
And do you remember what movie you were watching and you decided, I want to be a filmmaker?
It was a two-step thing, if I'm remembering it properly. One was getting hit by the magic of movies, which was from Star Wars, and going, wow, this feeling of transcending, you know, and E.T. transcending from Star Wars and E.T. I've left myself, and I'm this other thing, and this person who's telling me this story is taking me emotionally to a place that I'm you know, exalted. I'm more than I was before this story. So that magic is step one, and then step two was really kind of, I think, as I got to like my teenage years with Raiders of the Lost Ark, when I saw that when I was at 12, then I was like, how did they do that? How does he do that? How did this person tell this story? And then it slowly became like, I want to do this. And then when I read about Spike Lee, that he went to school and he was someone that had never made movies and he went to school, I was like, wait a minute, you could do this? And so that's when I started telling my parents, you know, I don't want to be a doctor.
O que está acontecendo?
Que eu acho que tá procurando por mim. Foi mal, gente. Licença. Desculpa.
And if they were to trap you, what would be the perfect place or concerts?
Well, the first thing popped into my mind was you could definitely trap me at a bookstore. So just make the best bookstore, and I'll be there for hours and hours and hours, and then just put the police around, and then you got me. And then concert-wise, my goodness, you know, there's, you know, for me, I got to see Adele when she began the 21 tour. So she was, I guess, 22 or something like that, and it was still small. And I met her. I went and met her. She came to my hometown, and she was selling. It was only 2,000, and I went backstage to meet her because I loved 19. And I went to her and I said hi, and she was like, "Oh my God, it's so nice to meet you." And she was really sweet. And then she was telling me how excited she was about selling this tiny little place out. This is before she became, and I was thinking that's where you probably trap me, as these beautiful artists as they emerge, as their wings start to go. You'll find me at one of those kind of concerts, and the Adele 21 concert would be one.
That is amazing. Mr. Shyamalan, thank you very
you.
much. I love your movies.
Thank
I'm
you
a
so
huge
much.
fan. I hope you enjoy Brazil.
Thank you so much.
Thank
You're
you.
very sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Aproveite o resto do show, hein?